Real quickly before the video begins, a couple of announcements. The first episodes of the first official chapter of Gateways is now being posted, and the prologue chapter is now on my website in full, so you can read that if you want. Okay, thank you. Hello everybody, it's your non-binary pal, Gracious E.V.A. here, and over the years on this channel, I've talked about a story I've been working on called Moonstone, a neon cyberpunk superhero and magical girl inspired story about people who get special and unique powers from gemstones. The last video I made about the main characters was way back in 2023. However, I've been thinking a lot about these characters and the story, and I have made a bunch of changes to it. So I decided to make an updated video. If you want to watch those videos, well, don't watch the very first one because that's really old, and you could watch the second one, but so much of that is kind of irrelevant that you're really good just starting here. First, let me explain the world a bit. This world takes place in my larger Gateways universe and mirrors ours. However, it's way more technologically advanced, and the main place the story is centered around is this big island city straight out of a classic cyberpunk story. Almost all the technology is run entirely in code, making many things susceptible to hacking, and making that illegal. There's also this group of people called gem wielders who get special powers from wearing special gemstones that have some sort of magic stored inside, although they're not quite sure what it is yet. Their physical appearance also changes as well, with their hair and eye color being different. However, only certain people can wield these due to their DNA. It's not entirely clear why, but many suspect it's because of something special about their ancestors. And many of these gem wielders work for a specific part of the government, which I'm calling the Gem Society for now, but I'll probably have to change that because I'm fairly certain that's from Steven Universe. However, something about this group has been corrupted over the years by their new leader, and that's the main conflict the main three here have to deal with. There's lots of different gem wielders and factions, but for now, I'm just going to focus on the main characters. But first, let me explain the artworks I used for the speed paints here real quick in case you want to know. This one is of River and Chase and is inspired by some outfits I saw on Pinterest that I thought would suit them. I decided to go with a lineless look, and that was fun to do, but I am kind of missing some depth on this one, so much so that I might actually change that before the video. The background entire color scheme is supposed to be a night scene matched with a more sunsetty thing, and they also have their main modes of transportation with them: hoverboard for River and motorbike for Chase. I don't think I drew very well because I don't know how to draw those things very well. This one is of Nick and was mainly experimental. I was trying to work from grayscale to color by using gradient maps, but I ended up just using a mix of that and just solid overlay colors. It's also very much a trans-centered piece, using the colors of the trans flag, highlighting his top surgery scars, and a butterfly and flowers for symbolism. Alright, that's it for the artwork explanation. Now let's talk about our main character rebels, starting with Moonstone, aka River Monley. River is a gender-fluid person who lives 3 different lives, one as the normal human River, one as a rock star, and another as the notorious hacker Moonstone. Their main target is criminals and the corrupt Gem Society, so they're definitely a vigilante. In past versions of this story, River was always meant to be more of a classic superhero, but I just didn't think that really fit them, so I changed it up. However, they do still get into combat and fight, and I imagine that they actually are more of a graceful fighter, kind of like Spider-Gwen from Spider-Verse, due to one of their powers. Like most gem wielders, River has 2 powers, which is something I've always kept in every version of this story. They have the power to manipulate their own gravity field, making themselves lighter or heavier, which is how they get their fighting style, and the ability to create visual illusions. These don't appear super solid, but appear real enough for quick escapes or any other maneuvers. Something else I've decided to add that's super different from other versions of this story is that they aren't just a normal human gem wielder. For most gem wielders, they only get their special powers and altered look when they're wearing the gem. But there is a rare group of people that don't need a gemstone in order to achieve this. Their transformed look is actually their real form, and their powers are natural too. These people are called Lunans, and the reason why they are like this is because they are much more directly descended from their special ancestors. So once they put on a gemstone for the first time, that's just how they are. And River is one of these. They've known this for quite some time, but was always encouraged to keep it hidden. So they begrudgingly, during the day, hide by using their powers to make themselves appear more human. But they do like to give themselves dyed hair to not be too boring. But it's during the night where they can really be themselves in their different lives. They fight against the Gem Society due to the fact that their former band members one of them being a friend and the other being their former partner, were also Lunans and were taken by the society for experiments. This whole thing becomes a lot easier for them to do when they meet Nick and Chase. River as a person is very rebellious and sassy, extremely witty, but also not super trusting, and has a hard time getting along with others. They are very smart with technology and has a strong passion for music and expressing themselves. Their design is based quite a bit on their older looks, which I'll show here. I decided to completely get rid of the superhero look I gave them since that's not who they are anymore, and stick to their main outfit and a performer outfit. Their main look is very modern and streetwear-like, and I tried to incorporate some techno stuff as well. And as for their rockstar look, I went with a very sparkly and bright asymmetrical look inspired by looks from the 80s. For all their designs, I've always used this blue, purple, and yellow color palette, even though I'm aware that's not really accurate to a real-life moonstone, but I just like the color palette. I also gave them this nice eye makeup and a tattoo. I'm really happy with their design. It's much more accurate to who they are now, and it's really sparkly and fun. Next, I'll talk about Dr. Nick Ramirez, aka Bloodstone. In all other versions of this story, it was only River who was the gem wielder of the group, but I decided to have Nick also be an established gem wielder. He's just a human gem wielder though. He joined the organization way back before it was corrupted and worked as both fighter and scientist. His boyfriend at the time was starting to become the new leader of this place and started slowly corrupting it into what it is now. Nick obviously was not cool with any of this, so he left to try and use his skill to bring more attention to it and to make up for working for them in the first place. Nick deals with a lot of guilt issues, and his physical health isn't the best either, so when he's not using the gems, he tends to push himself way too hard. He's pretty jaded and cynical, but has a humorous side and a rebellious spirit. His powers with the Bloodstone are invisibility and the ability to heal others with his blood. Something I haven't talked about all that much is what inspires the powers of each gem. For the most part, it's all based on the folklore surrounding the gem or stuff associated with them. For example, here, the legend surrounding Bloodstone was that it was originally a stone that was underneath Jesus during his crucifixion, and his blood spilling on it was what caused it to look like that. Funnily enough, this is actually far from the only gem that has a myth origins involving blood spilling on it. Bloodstone is also associated with magicians, so I figured invisibility would work well with that. For his current design, I'm really happy with his civilian form, but his transformed look could use a lot of work. But here it is for now. Nick's whole vibe has always meant to be punk rock, and I always love playing with his fashion, so giving him a solid outfit was actually pretty hard due to indecision, but I landed on this one with a crop top and shorts, a mesh top and fishnet tights, and some cool boots. He also has a jacket that goes with that. Pretty simple, all things considered, and I also gave him these cool tattoos on his shoulder and torso. The biggest problem I have with his transformed look is the colors. Unfortunately, Bloodstone is red and green, the hardest colors to work with when it comes to design, thanks to Christmas. I was able to pull it off on his normal look by making the green more teal and use brown instead of red, but I wanted the colors to be brighter when he transformed, and I just think they're too much, so I'll definitely have to change that in the future, but I am happy I decided to make him a gem wielder too, since it adds more interest to him. He actually was meant to eventually become a gem wielder in the later versions of the story, but I decided to just change that to be an established part of him already. The last character is Chase November. Unlike the others, he's not a gem wielder and is the only normal human. He did want to be a gem wielder, which is why he initially joined the Gem Society. I imagine he was probably specifically aiming for the citrine gem, but he didn't have the special DNA for it, so he was denied. If you're curious, if a normal human tried wearing a gemstone, some of the powers could still apply to them, but it'll also drain their energy and cause some supernatural effects, so it's quite deadly. Despite this, he was still able to join as a scientist, since he was extremely smart and a very good engineer. So he created a lot of the weapons the fighters use. He had a very close friend that joined the society with him, initially as a scientist, but when they tried to become a gem wielder, it turned out that they were a Lunan. It was here that Chase learned about the dark side of the society, and his friend had to run away to go into hiding. Chase decided to leave soon after that in hopes of finding his friend. He was also already Nick's protege, so he decided to keep working for him. Like I said, he's very smart and he knows it, so he can definitely be a bit arrogant. He's very stubborn and also has a hard time working with others. He can be pretty awkward and lost when it comes to social interactions, but has a snarky and witty sense of humor. He actually stays pretty cool and level-headed most of the time, and always just wants to create the best things for other people. In past versions of his design, it was always pretty boring, but has decided to fix that. by making the decision of making him for more femme. I gave him the long dreadlock style hair, which I had always wanted to give him, and an overall gold motif. Even though he doesn't actually have a citrine, I still like to design him with citrine in mind. His main outfit is really meant to be fashionable engineer with thick gloves and pants, suspenders, an over-shoulder shirt with fishnet top, and for accessories I gave him these goggles and this cool circular hair tie thing. I also gave him a second more chill design with glasses, a cardigan, and crop top. Funnily enough, the design kind of gives off more of a cottagecore vibe, which is a little bit different for this universe, but I think it still works. And the last surprising detail I decided to add was giving him purple eyes to make the whole look less monochromatic. Overall, his whole motif is very circular, which was pretty intentional, as well as the others' shape motifs. I honestly think his design is probably my favorite overall. It's just very fun and suits him well, and definitely way less boring than his last design. If you're curious about some of the character interactions and connections, Nick is more of the older gay uncle sort of relationship to Chase and River. Chase and River have a big kind of rivalry at first because they're both really smart and also both stubborn, but they eventually become good friends. So yeah, that's kind of their whole dynamic. And yeah, that's everything for this. There's lots more characters I want to design and talk about in this universe, but for now, these are the main three. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I've been really wanting to re-explore this story and these characters for a while, since I've made a bunch of changes to it, and I'm excited to share more. If you want to read some more of my work, I have my comics in the description below. I have my Instagram for artwork stuff, and yeah, thanks again to Gibisrat for being my Patreon member. Your support means a lot. And yeah, I will see you all in the next video. Bye!